Game of the freaking year. Crimson Desert is looking incredible. I mean, take a look at this. Check this stuff out. What absolute legendary content. Yeah. So yesterday when the embargo lifted, so many creators just rolled up and started showing you all of the incredible stuff that we have in the game. They started opening the floodgates, just giving us all the information that they could. And I woke up and saw that there was a bunch of interesting stuff. But I noticed a few things that a lot of people were not talking about. Only those who had like a whole lot of hours in the game. And of course, we absolutely have to talk about this dragon. I mean, that's what it's all about. So yeah, let's chat about that. So Crimson Desert looks like a massive, ambitious action game with like incredible combat and rewarding exploration, deep progression systems, and some very real weaknesses that I think we also need to speak about, to be honest. So let's kind of break this down, right? In my last video, I spoke about some of the concerns about the story, how this game does on consoles, and some of the button clunkiness. And now that we have more clearer impressions, some of that's been clarified. On the story side, that was like a major concern as well. Some people came away saying that the story is not especially strong, not very compelling, and not engaging. But the feedback suggests that this game is pushing like more spectacle and momentum than than deep character writing. So that's kind of where we are at. In other words, it looks like a game that wants to move you through big moments, dramatic battles, a huge open world. But it may not be the kind of game you buy for layered storytelling or unforgettable dialogue and characters. Like, it's more about exploration, combat, and the systems that are in the game that make it interesting. And then there's also like this element of just community that's going to naturally come with the game, because you need to try to figure out like how to play it. That's something that's in there for sure. Think about games like Elden Ring, Skyrim, Breath of the Wild. Those are the types of stuff. The journey, the discoveries, the encounters, that's what you're gonna appreciate about this game specifically. Crimson Desert sounds like it might land closer to that kind of strength where exploration is the strong point and the story is like the weaker point of the package. So that's it, that not every quest is worthwhile, right? Some quests are described as like fluff and fetch work or like just poor design. So that's something that you can expect. There are characters and NPCs, which is another area. The NPCs and side characters do not sound especially memorable. They really are not. A few stand out, but not enough, because I mean the world is huge and it's not going to be like a situation where you find like that situation. Remember in Kingdom Come Deliverance where you speak to that guy who's like, women are devils and you should like, it's not, you're not gonna have memorable characters like that. Yeah, like there was this other character in like Red Dead Redemption as well, where he was like a racist in the Saint Denis or whatever. I don't think you're gonna find those kind of characters, like memorable characters, in this one. But we'll see. We'll see. You know how it goes. You play the game, and everybody talks about that one character that's like this or that or whatever. There's something that I did see that I found interesting myself. But apparently, you can have a pet in the game as well. There's a separate point here about the AI of the characters in these camps that you verse that can be especially weak. So that's another concern that was raised. Take a look at this. This was something that I noticed in like one review, but they didn't show. So what I wanted to point out in this video is, you start attacking this guy, right? Like, so the main dude starts attacking this guy, yeah, and everybody else is just like chilling it out. Like, check out this, there are gods right here. They just really not bothered about it. I thought that was interesting. I have a feeling that the devs are really on it to improve the AI, and that was a big sticking point like earlier on, that a lot of people, that a few people were talking about. They were saying that the AI is quite weak, and it was surprising to see how weak the AI was of like the surrounding characters and stuff. And yet that wasn't something that came up in these reviews yesterday. So I mean, there must have been some work done on that, and there probably is going to be some more work done on that. But now let's get to the combat progression, because this is kind of where Crimson Desert starts to sound special. Sounds really good. Every single person that reviewed this video said that the combat was amazing. It felt fantastic. It's something that didn't feel repetitive, because there are all kinds of moves that you can learn. So that's great. A lot of people say that that feels satisfying as well. Like when you slice with a sword, when you shoot, and all of these kind of effects, that feels amazing. And so you're going to appreciate that when you play the game, if you are really considering it. And if gameplay is like a big point for you, this is going to be a fantastic game. I do want to mention something that came up, and that was how you can wield any weapons you want. So you know how when you're playing a game and you find that you can't really use certain weapons because you have to upgrade to the next weapon because that's like a level 3 and you still on a level 1, and so now you're gonna have to give up this weapon that you really like because you're gonna have to go to the level 3 weapon. In this game you can basically apply all of the skills, all of the like perks for that one weapon, all of those buffs, and you can apply it to your main weapon. So like how cool is that? Check this out.
Factoring in the whole skill tree system, which provides a meaningful and noticeable set of useful upgrades every step of the way. I quite literally played almost the whole game simply as a dual wielder because I just enjoyed that playstyle, and I still felt like I had a lot of fun with it at the 80 and 100 hour mark because there were simply so many more things to find out into the open world to fiddle with my build, despite originally having started as a longsword player.
How amazing is that? You can basically use whatever weapon you want if that's what you prefer, and you can play the whole game with the specific weapon that you like. So if you like to have like a single sword and a shield, that you can roll with that for the entire game. They really care about how you want to present your character. So if you want to be the guy that holds the big axe, you can do that. The broadsword, you can do that if that's the way that you want to like look in the game. So that's great. Now the character switching looks interesting. It looks like GTA style character switching. I do want to show you here.
As this GTA 5 style pan out, even if they are on the other side of the continent. One thing that I appreciated about character switching though is that all playable characters have an almost as deep of a progression system as that of Cliff. Maybe just the skill trees are a bit more scaled.
Yeah, like how cool is that? And even the fact that their skill trees are like similar. So in the game, Cliff's the main character, but there are activities that are going to require you to use certain characters. So even if you spend a long time using the main character, what you'll find is that you might need to buff up the other characters as well, because if you don't, they're going to be underpowered when you face like all kinds of bosses and stuff in those different missions. And so you are going to have to put a little bit of effort into them, but but it's cool that you'll be able to use them. Now one thing that was cool is that I also saw that you can summon all of your characters together and have them all three fight, and you can do that with like your clan as well. That's freaking insane, bro. Right? So like there's a lot of clan building in this game. You can pull up your characters together, you can have them all fight, and they'll use the the like improvements that you added to them as well. So that's freaking that's crazy. Yeah, now let's talk about the difficulty and the bosses. I think this is a big deal. A lot of people are saying that because there's no difficulty option, if you hit a boss, then it's like you've hit a wall. There's no way to lower the difficulty and move on, right? If you leave, so like the only way to deal with that is to leave, get stronger, get better gear, understand the systems better, come back more prepared. And if you leave a boss fight, you can actually get resources that you used in that boss fight back. So you don't use up your resources, leave a boss fight, and then you have to go and recompile all of those resources. That's really cool. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's a feature, but that sounds really nice. Because if I use like a whole bunch of revive beans or something like that, I think that's the one thing that you have to collect. You use these kind of like revive beans that you can cook up or that you can collect in the world. If you use that, you can basically get them back when you leave the boss fight, and then you can try again with all of your resources. But that is a huge deal, right? Because it removes like some of the fear of backing off and experimenting. So I mean, so you're not really punished hard for realizing that you're underprepared, which is great. Now with that said, it might not be an entirely chill adventure game, right? This is probably going to be the kind of game where you are going to run into encounters where bandits roll up on you, attack you, and you might get pushed into quick time events where escaping is tricky. Here's that situation with like the QTE that pops up. Check this out. Check how difficult that is. And so if you fail it a bunch of times, you can end up just getting like spammed, like just punched to death. Yeah, that's quite annoying. Yeah. So anyway, they are working on that kind of situation. That's what I've heard. Yeah, so what might happen with that is you'll start to feel in the beginning like the game is really simple, and then you end up in a situation where where you get comfortable, and then you go to the next area, and then everyone's like way more powerful, and it's gonna feel a little tough. So the balancing kind of in this game of like starting off on like a lower level and then improving and getting to like a situation where you are facing rougher enemies, that balance of like easy to difficult is kind of tough to deal with. It's like that's a rough situation. So I mean, basically, do a whole bunch of missions in one area before you move on to the next area. That's kind of what they're trying to push you into doing. Like really power yourself up, really learn the systems and all that, so that you can move on to the next area and really face all of the enemies there because they are going to be quite tough. Yeah, and so the world is packed with systems. Yeah, like you can even fight on horseback is something that you can do here, which is really cool. Imagine just riding through and just like dunking a whole bunch of people, like just destroying them on horseback. That'll be freaking awesome. It will really feel like a war situation. Anyway, that's cool. There are also these kind of shops where you earn contribution points. So the game rewards you for doing like these basic missions in areas. So it's not like you're doing all of these weaker quests for no reason. You gain points for doing that. That's nice. But yeah, there's a lot going on here. So there are also some fun world mechanics that like some reviewers didn't touch on very much. And one is the snow example that I really want to show you. So this is freaking cool.
And there's nothing quite like going through a frozen hellscape just to have snow pile up on your clothing, progressively slowing you down and
Mad.
decreasing your temperature unless you shake it off physically or get an appropriate winter attire. Otherwise, risk turning ice solid.
That is just freaking crazy, bro. Like, can you imagine that? Like, what an awesome mechanic! Like, what an awesome game mechanic. So the hunting and survival element of this game, though, is quite lacking, and I'll explain what I mean by that. You can kind of simulate hunting with fishing. You can do like fishing in the fishing mini game where you have to like wait until the fish takes or something, or you have to like weaken the fish before you kind of pull them in. That's in the game, but somebody mentioned in the review that you can basically walk into the water and grab the fish and that's it, you're done. So what's the point of like doing the fishing? What's the point of doing like careful hunting or whatever? You can just run in, slice an animal dead with your sword, and then there you go, you've got the animal. I wonder if they're going to remove that later on, or if they're going to leave that in, so that if you care about the hunting you can do it, and if you don't care about it you can just skip all of that. So yeah, these systems are there, but they don't really need to be used. And puzzles in the game are sometimes relevant for unlocking like fast travel situations in the game. So puzzles can be relevant in some cases, and some puzzles are just optional. So there's also like an investigation mode that looks like interesting. I noticed that in the reviews. It's almost like when you were playing one of the Arkham games, the Batman games, where you go into like this detective mode. So yeah, like take a look at that. Here's what it looks like. Puts on his thinking cap, takes a look at the environment, what happened there. Check that out. Yeah, so traversal has like some quirks as well. Gliding, I notice, uses stamina, which means that you're not gonna just float endlessly, which is something that I don't think is in a lot of games. Because if you glide, you basically lose stamina. Now, here's something I didn't see. When he glides, he loses stamina here, but does that build up again during your fall so that you can continue? Or do you just fall for the rest of it? I think somebody mentioned on a tweet recently that if you if you glide and you lose stamina, that's basically it for you. So jumping off mountains and stuff is not gonna be something that you can do um, like just freely. You might need to build up your stamina so that you can make it all the way down, or not use the glide feature until you're much closer to the ground. And I don't know what falling is gonna be like if it accelerates or not. So that's something that you might need to look out for. So now let's talk about one of the roughest parts of the package, which is like your inventory. Apparently, you're going to be picking up a lot of loot and spending a lot of time managing that loot. It's hard to know like what to keep, and the inventory is shared across all characters. So one inventory for all three characters. That's interesting. Uh, that might change. I don't know. Yeah, one of the reviewers said that you use up stamina when doing like basic attacks or whatever, and that kind of just drained your character out, and that kind of made it annoying. And so they just removed basic attacks from taking stamina. That's just how cool they are. So yeah, no, I'm gonna actually drop all of the videos that I used here on in the description here, so you can go and check out the specific reviewers that I watched to make this video. Um, because I think they all did a fantastic job, especially Craze Gaming. He did freaking, I think he did the best video, I would say, reviewing this game, because he brought up a whole bunch of stuff that nobody's seen before. One of the things that I did want to mention was like the crime system. That's something that not even he brought up, even like in his fantastic video. Uh, but I saw that there was something interesting because it looks a lot like Red Dead Redemption's crime system. Right? Take a look at this. It was just like a passing note, but check this out. So here he commits a crime, and the crime system activates. Check this. Right there, because he stole a wagon, right? So he gets like a crime. It says crime, assault, and then it explains here any action that harms other players is considered a crime. When a crime occurs, a search area will appear around the scene. You must quickly leave the area and hide from witnesses before anyone sees you. Check this out. You get those little eyes, just like on RDR, and then there's like an area. Right? If you fail to escape, a bounty will be placed on your head. Once the bounty is high enough, guards will begin chasing you. If you are arrested, you'll be thrown in jail, and the bounty on your head will be cleared only once you've served your sentence. That's something that I think a lot of people missed on their review. They didn't notice that this crime system, or they didn't comment on this crime system. But you're probably going to see a lot of videos about how to avoid getting caught and how to dodge these crime systems in game. Now we have to talk about the freaking dragon. Okay, the dragon looks absolutely insane. Right, like we cannot. This is something Craze Gaming showed on his video, and I just thought, what the heck, this is brilliant. But he did make a comment that you can only summon it in certain areas, and it comes into play only later on in the game. But it is also massively overpowered, with a cooldown on on its power, as you can see in the video. So it's not just some casual mount like you can spam anyway, right? Like a normal mount. But check out this thing, freaking destroys this. Just destroy the entire camp, just like wipe out everyone. Now, as you approach these camps, right, you got like this score on the left hand side where you have to like reduce it to 0, and then that shows that okay, you've completed the camp. And one other freaking awesome thing that I forgot to leave in like my notes for this video is that you can summon a bunch of your people, the Grey Mains, and just send them to the village and go and just do like a freaking army battle in that village to remove all of the enemies here. Just clear the camp with like your homies. That's freaking cool. Remember in GTA when you can like assemble a bunch of homies? Yo, it wouldn't work for the neighborhood. You can do that kind of thing on here, and you can just go into these camps and just demolish everyone and clear the camp, win the round, and then you've got like a new territory. That's very, very cool. That was something that I thought was just freaking amazing, bro. That was unbelievable. Yeah, but back to what I was saying about the dragon. So it's a huge thing. It takes up a lot of it uses a lot of power. You can do these kinds of attacks. You can do like the fire breathing attacks. That's mad. And yeah, I think the best way that I can describe the feeling is like this game is absolute escapist euphoria. That's how I would describe it. And it feels like having like an overpowered weapon to have this dragon, bro. Like in the world, just causing chaos and everything. I can't wait to get to this level. That's freaking insane. Remember like what it was like getting a tank on GTA 3 and you just driving around and bombing all kinds of stuff up, like just causing havoc. GTA Vice City. That's the kind of feeling that I had. And there's probably many other games where you had like this kind of monster that you could just run through and just demolish the place. The other cool thing is everything is destructible. Like as I watched this game, I saw that you can bomb up a bunch of walls, you can bomb up anything made of wood. It's it's like check at that. Like how cool is that? That's pretty cool. But yeah, flying around the world, wrecking things with dragon. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to. The other thing that I'm also looking forward to is riding this dodo. This is something that I definitely want to do. Check this thing out. What a beast. What an absolute beast. So yeah, riding a dragon, riding a dodo. I don't know how that thing was able to like glide through there, but that's good. That's good. If I could apply like skins and all kinds of stuff to my dodo, imagine that. Game of the Year, instantly Game of the Year for that. But yeah, so where does this leave the game? I think Crimson Days is looking like one of the most genuinely and most ambitious action games like of 2026, right? And right now it's putting GTA 6 as the underdog, as some people have said. And I wouldn't actually say that. Let's rather wait for GTA 6 to come out. But if it does fall off, I really do agree with like that Rockstar developer who said that this game could be game of the year. So yeah, enjoy the game, enjoy the systems. I think this is definitely a contender for game of the year, for sure. Thank you for watching. Please sub if you can, and support the video and support the channel. Cheers. Crimson Desert is a freaking, I don't know. Crimson Desert is shaving heads. Shaving it now. Stop it.